All right, so picking up from yesterday, right? Solve the equation. So it's everything that we've been working on so far, just with a little bit extra sauce on it, right? So the whole point here is that we want to get a fraction equal a fraction. We're going to cross multiply and then solve like we have been forever. So what do I have to do to get a single fraction on the left-hand side? Do I have a single fraction on the left-hand side? No, so I have to get a common denominator, right? So who can tell me what's the common denominator between 2 and x? 2x. So 2 times x, right? So what's missing from the denominator here that's in the denominator here? The x, right? So if I multiply the bottom by x, I have to multiply the top by x. So I get 7x. Plus, what's in the denominator here that's not in the denominator here? 2, right? So if I multiply the bottom by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. So I get 7x plus 6. All right, so now do I have, well, first of all, can I do anything to simplify here? No. So that's as simplified as I can get it. So now, does everybody see that I have a fraction equal a fraction? Okay, whenever you get a fraction equal a fraction, we're just going to use cross multiplication. So I'm going to take the numerator from here times the denominator across, and numerator times denominator. All right, so what's 7x plus 6? Well, here, I'll just write it out. So we get 7x plus 6 times 1 equals 3 times 2x. Everybody okay with that? Yes, no, maybe? All right, so now we're going to distribute, get rid of parentheses. 7x plus 6 equals 6x. Everybody good? Okay, how would you solve this for x? Subtract 6x from both sides. Let 7x take away 6x. 1x. 6x take away 6x. 0. Now how do I get x by itself? So x equals. Because this is basically the same process we're going to use on every one of these. So whenever they ask you to solve, your brain needs to pop a red flag that says fraction equal fraction. Once you get that, cross multiply, and then it just looks like everything else we've been doing for the last year and a half. Okay? All right. I need to go white here. All right. So same basic idea here, right? Do I have a fraction equal a fraction? No, I have 2 fractions over here, right? So I need to find a way to combine those. So I need to get common denominators. So what's going to be the common denominator out of this fraction here on the left? Okay, 2x times x plus 7, right? So we always want to keep our denominators in factored form if we can. And we're just looking for common pieces, right? I have a 2 times x on the left, and I have an x plus 7 on the right. Do I have anything repeated in the denominators here? Any repeated factors? No. So that means that I'm just going to have to take this entire denominator and this entire denominator to form my new common denominator. Okay? So what is in the bottom here that's not in the bottom here? X plus 7. So I have to take my numerator, multiply it by what I added to the denominator, right? I have a plus sign. My old numerator is 3. What's in the bottom here that's not in the bottom here? 2x. So that has to get added on top as well. And this is going to be equal to -1 over x. Everybody all right? Okay, now I'm going to try to combine like terms on top and simplify this fraction here as far as I can. Okay? So I'm going to distribute here. So what's 1 times x? Right, so you get x plus 7 plus what? 6x all over. Actually, we're going to try to keep denominators factored. Okay? Just so that way it'll make things easier later on. All right, group up your like terms on top here. Because remember the first day we were doing this and we got that problem where I accidentally had a cubic in the denominator? Right? The reason why that happened is because I was too quick to multiply. Yeah. I was too fast with my fastness. Okay, so everybody good? So now do I have a fraction equals a fraction? So what am I going to do with the fractions? cross multiply. So once you get a fraction equals a fraction, you want to cross multiply. So I'm going to take 7x plus 7 times x, and that's going to be equal to -1 times 2x times x plus 7. Everybody good so far? Yes, no, maybe so? Alright. So for those of you following along, I appreciate it. For the rest of you, good luck. Alright, so now we distribute. Get 7x squared plus 7x equals -2x squared minus, 14x. Yeah. Okay, so what's the biggest power you see in play? X squared. So that means that we're going to have to get everything on the same side, set it equal to 0 so we can factor, right? So I have to go to a new screen here. So I need to add 1. Alright, so I have to get everything to the same side, right? So I'm going to move everything from the right to the left. So 7x squared plus my 2x squared is going to give me 9x squared. 7x plus 14x is going to be plus 21x. Huh? Yeah, but I'm moving it over from the right side to the left side, so I'm going to add 2x squared and add 14x. So that's how I get the 9x squared plus 21x, and then that's how I get the 0 here. Okay, is there anything I can factor out of those? Anything in common between 9x squared and 21x? Huh? 3 and an x, right? So that's going to leave me with 3x plus 7. Everybody good? Yes, no, maybe? All right, so now this is a factor here, and this is a factor. So once I've factored, how do I find my solutions? Set each thing equal to 0. So I get 3x equals 0, and I get 3x plus 7 equals 0. So I don't get x by itself here. Divide by 3, so it's 0 divided by 3? 0. So there's one solution. And then how do I get x by itself here? Subtract 7 and divide by 3, so I get -7/3. Everybody all right with that? Okay, now remember yesterday I was talking about extraneous solutions, right? Extraneous solutions are extra solutions. So I'm saying that these are my two solutions. But I always have to kind of look back and ask myself, is there one of those that won't work? Okay, so I've got 0 and -7/3. So if I put in a 0 for x, is that going to give me a problem anywhere? Yeah. Right, what's 2 times 0? Can I divide by 0? Okay, so can 0 actually be a solution? No, so this is considered extraneous. So it solves my equation, but it doesn't actually, it solves this equation, but it doesn't actually work as a solution to my entire problem. Okay, so that is not listed as a solution. So the only solution here is -7/3. Everybody okay with that? Yes, no, maybe? And when it comes to an extraneous solution, it'll be really obvious like that, where like you'll get a 0 in the bottom. Like the one yesterday, we had x squared minus 9, and I got a 3. Well, 3 squared is 9, 9 minus 9 is 0. That can't happen. Okay, so for when it comes to extraneous solutions, they're not buried, they're not deep. It's like when you take your x values, look back and see if you can find zeros in the denominator, that it's creating a mathematical impossibility. Okay, everybody all right with that? And the section where that shows up, which is the second section, it will flat out tell you in the directions, check for extraneous solution. Okay, if it doesn't say that, don't worry about them, they shouldn't show up. All right, everybody good? Any questions on this type of work, anything that we did today in these two problems that you're not good with? Or is it just that it's like cumbersome and you don't want to deal with it? Because if you don't want to deal with it, we'll handle, but is everybody okay with the math? Yeah, pretty good? All right. So here you go. So 4 through 6 and 10 through 12 are just the solve section. Those are considered the more basic problems. 14 through 16 and 20 through 22 are the ones where it's like a split fraction on one side equals, okay? These are kind of like you should be able to do one step and then cross multiply and go from there. These will be a little bit more involved.